I think you answered this question, which was, how do you filter all the information and what's changing? You answered it from the point where you have already figured that out, because now you're like, what should I make a video on? You've already decided I should make a video. I don't think anyone's getting to that. I think, honestly, most people are so overwhelmed, like, should I learn Claude Code, this new thing that's been buzzing recently? Or should I learn NFTs or crypto or whatever? How do you trust that what you've decided on is the right thing to do, and that you don't need to go back and check, you know?
I think what you just said was like the operative word that Sam said was trust. And so I think the scattered brainedness comes from a place of fear. I'm afraid I'm going to be left behind. I'm afraid my stuff's not going to be relevant. I'm afraid if I don't learn how to code, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I have a belief, I trust, that when something is significant enough that it actually affects my business, I will change. Until then, I will continue to do what I know works, which is that I will gather attention, I will point it in a direction, I'll make a compelling offer, and then I'll deliver on that promise. And so fundamentally, like, especially, most of y'all here are below $1 million-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. What makes you money is letting people know about the stuff and then delivering the stuff and making the stuff you have to deliver. Those are the only components of the business, because for those of you who have a conversion mechanism that's automated, just like the About page, there's no like real sales motion, you just point it there. If you do have a sales motion, you have a sales call, or you do a webinar or whatever, you'll have that extra step that's in there. But that is usually a very curated, you don't need to remake your sales script, you don't need to remake your webinar once you know this is the thing that converts. That's just kind of like a performance that either gets automated, or you just do it on a weekly basis or whatever. But what are the inputs and the outputs of the system? The inputs in the system are more people knowing about the stuff, which means paid ads and content, by and large, for most of you guys. That's the input. We have this automated conversion for many of you, and then delivery also for many of you is relatively leveraged in that, like, there's recordings and maybe you do one call a week. If you have 10 times the people on that call, it still probably works pretty okay. And so pretty much everyone here should be spending the lion's share of your time promoting. And I don't say like in a shilly way. I'm saying like, let people know about your stuff and do it and go 2 levels deeper. Spend more time on the problem and then let that come out in the content or the ads. And that's what's going to create the differentiation. So yes, like right now, my simple advice is, if you have, I don't know what, let's assume you work a 12-hour day, you can shrink it down to whatever hours you work. I know we have the French guy who's like, I don't like working more than 4 hours per week. It's too much. So yeah, right, shrink that down according to you. But I just like, first 4 hours of the day I'm promoting, next 4 hours of the day I'm building the stuff, and then last one I'm delivering the stuff that I built. It's just third, and just set a timer and stick to that block. Like, don't like have like some fire camp. Like, if you know what you do every day, because it shouldn't be a surprise to you. There's Slacks, there's decisions, there's whatevers, but many of you guys don't have like massive teams you have to deal with either. And so like, if it's not that, it is a distraction. And so if you think about like what is focus, focus is doing one thing, which means that anything that's not that thing is less focused. Like the most focused video game player would not sleep, would not eat, would only play video games. As soon as they introduce any activity that's not playing video games, they become a less focused video game player. Now, you can't be 100% focused because you'll die, because you need to drink water, you need to eat food. So it's like, okay, well, what degrees of not focus can I introduce into this system? But fundamentally, that is it. Like the ultimate productivity hack is no.
Is this, you seem to understand this problem, right? Are we getting at it? Are we?
Oh, good. Value.
Why do you think these people are just endlessly scrolling and not doing anything? Like, what is going on in their mind?
You're talking about consumers?
Just, you seem to know what we're talking about. Like, people do this. They're trying to figure out what's going on, what should I do? And they never quite figure it out, because every day it changes, right?
Right.
And so they never are like, this is it. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to ignore everything, and I'm just going to do it. They don't do that. Like, why not?
I think just speaking from personal experience, we try to learn as much as we can and consume as much as we can. And then we listen to somebody who's a YouTube expert that says, do this. Then we listen to a copywriter that says, do this. And at the end of the day, I know deep down that everything does work if you just do it for long enough and get good at it.
Yeah.
But we get into this circle of
Because
trying to learn
did
as
you
much as we
used to
can.
do this sort of thing? I used to do more of it, not like to this
I had a
extreme.
gym. I was like,
But you read books and like,
I read books.
yeah.
But I read
It's
I read
like what
books
you
around
said
specific problems, though. To be real.
But I remember you saying something too, where it's like you were reading all these self-help books. And
Oh,
all
that
of
was
a
before I
sudden-
started business,
But
yeah.
even just in general, the concept of reading all these self-help books, and at some point they all end up contradicting
Your life-
each other.
oh,
And
totally.
you're like, oh, I'm in the same exact spot. I just need to fucking pick
Do
one
shit.
and do it. But I think picking that one gets tough for a lot of us.
I'll give you a wonderful piece of advice that even very high level entrepreneurs will forget. So it's something we need to be reminded of more than taught. But it's like you will do something, and as soon as it begins to work, do not stop doing that thing until it stops working. Do not stop doing that thing because you fear it will stop working. Do not stop doing that. Like if it keeps working, you keep doing it. Repeat successful actions. That was a success. We should repeat that. We should do that again. But we did it yesterday. Do it again. Aren't they tired of it? Did it work? Yes. Do it again. I'll tell you the most extreme version of this and like why I'm like, so I did the book launch, right? The second day, there's all this juju about like, you have to have a repitch, is a different presentation, all this type of stuff. I was so adamant about this that I was like, no, I think I can give the exact same presentation again, same exact presentation, and more people will buy. Because I believe that it is about asking again, more like it worked, so I will do it again. And so I did the exact same presentation day 2, and we did like $25 million in sales day 2. Same presentation. Now you're like, but would it be different people? Tons of the same people. They just watched it again. We watch reruns of shows that we already know happened. And we think, oh, I have to somehow come up with a new business model every week. If you have something and it works and you make money from it, then you have an input-output equation. And so then it's like, great. The real question becomes, how can I actually do 100 times the inputs? Now, part of that comes from work ethic. The other part comes from leverage. What kind of systems can I put in there so that this one piece of content gets put in 10 places, that kind of stuff. But like, school has one of the simplest business models in the world. Promote shit, point to page, cha-ching, deliver shit.
And I repeat the shit out of that on every single stream. I'm like, look, they have an Instagram, link in bio, about page, money.
Yeah.
Again and again and again and again and again, and everyone's still like, what do I do?
Yeah. But it's so when we look at that, which of those has volume? The conversion is there's no real volume there. Maybe there's a split test, if that. The delivery, most of you guys have fixed delivery, in that it's like I do a call a week, I do some sort of Q&A or a breakdown or review for a pickup guy, or I do a page breakdown for Evelyn or an ads breakdown, whatever, right? It's a fixed back end. It's an automated conversion. The only part of the system that actually you have to do is the input, is the ads. And when I say ads, I mean in the formal sense, advertising, letting people know about stuff. But that means content and paid. And now that content and paid are merged, it's just content. And finding the good content and then putting more money behind it so more people see it. That's it.
Traffic, conversion rate, churn, like one of those things might be the problem. Maybe all.
Maybe all.
But I swear most people don't even start it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But we've talked a bit about this too. It's like maybe this term for it is too nerdy, but like first-party data. Because I was telling Hormozy once in one of our calls that I was like, shit, I don't even know when the last time I read a book was.
Yeah.
It was like 2 years ago, which seems crazy, right? But when I was younger and I didn't know what was going on, I would read a lot and I would take a lot of courses. I would consume a lot. And that's because I didn't have anything to do to test if it worked or not. I was trying to figure out what I should do, right? So I was like all over the place. And then when I finally figured out, okay, I'm going to do this, then I did it. And then if it worked, I would be like, okay, now I'll just make it keep working. And if there's a problem, I will seek information to solve the problem. And then I was consuming less. But then the further on I got, the more first-party data you have from doing it. And that's obviously so much more accurate and relevant to you than third-party data, which is other people sharing what they think worked for them. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, and I think that once you get that first-party data, you can totally tune out a lot of things. Like you can tune out everything that's going on, because none of that, if that matters, it will touch the first-party data, right? Like you'll see a movement and you're like, oh, maybe that is important. But if it doesn't, who cares? And is this making any sense?
I endorse this message.
I love figuring out, my favorite thing to do is like, I can completely ignore that. I don't give a shit. Like that is what I'm trying to do to everything, basically, because I'm trying to figure out what can I ignore. And I try to ignore a lot, really. And
Should I repeat?
Yeah.
It's signal versus noise. Regarding the earlier question, finding out what is signal, what is noise. And once you get more first-party data, the signal becomes stronger. The noise becomes smaller, right?
Yeah, you'll do stuff, and then
Exactly.
either your conversion rate will be a problem, and then you consume a YouTube video about conversion rates, and you're like, okay, that gives me like 6 things to try. And until you try those 6 things, there's really no point in consuming more stuff, because you just need to try the 6 things. And I will say, Layla says this a lot, which is just like a great reminder for me. She's like, don't change things when a solution is on the way. So like we'll be mid split test on a price thing and be like, man, our churn is a problem. It's like we're running the test right now. So why should change? It's like, dude, we're mid-flight. Like until we land the plane, if we change mid-flight, everyone dies. It was a complete waste. And so some things just take time. Is that you just have to let a certain number of repetitions, certain number of posts, certain number of whatever occur, so you can actually get feedback on that data, which I think is once you get into the first party world, that becomes the next issue. Is like you want to try too many things, even with the data that you have. And then that's where strategy becomes important, because strategy is prioritization of resources, right? And so you have 20, I mean, how big, I mean, the school list of like things that we can do with the platform is very long.
there's 2,000 new ones each day.
Yeah.
From you guys, thank you.
And so you have to pick. And so that, to be fair, like that at the absolute core, in my opinion, is the core of entrepreneurship, is being able to choose. I have these very limited resources in time, money, energy, and there's 100 things I can do. But which of these 100 things that if I were to implement has the highest likelihood of yielding the biggest outcome?
For most people, you don't have enough data for it to even make sense.
You want
Like
to ask again?
that's why it's not a feature in school, by the way.
You are not going to implement A/B testing for About page?
It's just not worth it, because we see how much traffic most people get, and we see how schizophrenic their behavior is. And we see people think that their About page change bombed after 5 clicks, right? Like, and they change it 4 times in a day with like 20 clicks. And I'm like, and they want to A/B test it. I'm like, no. Like, you need to leave it alone for at least a week with your amount of traffic, right? And I've got this method I use, and I still use it internally at school. We don't even run a lot of A/B tests, and we've got a shitload of traffic, right? I call it cowboy testing. And I just change it and watch the number to see if it goes up or down. And a lot of the time, I can get away with that shit. When it's more sensitive, like very sensitive, I'll run an A/B test and properly set it up. And I'm still continuously amazed at how hard it is to make something that can beat the control. That I think most people don't really understand the actual underlying mechanics of an A/B test. And if you don't understand that, you're just going to create more noise.
We ran 16 A/B tests on the school games. 14 of them lost.
I'll put it this way. This is another way to look at it, right? So we've got the sign-up page for school. We send an enormous amount of traffic to that page. So it's obviously very important. We've tried so hard to like make it better. Most of the time we make it worse in an A/B test, right? However, if we try a different random creative on Meta, it can work 5 times better. So like the leverage in the creative is so much more powerful than the leverage on the page. It's insane.
I think, okay, I want to continue down this. The earlier on in the funnel that you are, the bigger the leverage is in terms of the throughput. So if you change your CTRs on your ads from 1% to 2%, you double the whole business. you're probably not going to double the conversion of your page. It's just very unlikely. You might get a 10 or 20% lift, maybe if it's a really good, improvement. But but the crazy part is like you absolutely can get a double or a triple in CTR on the ad side. And that can get paired with, if it's a really good creative, you might get double or triple the conversion rate, and your CPMs might be 1/6 of what they are. And so all of a sudden you have an 18x improvement, and there's just nothing down funnel that gets you that kind of gain, besides maybe a 10x or 20x in price or something like that. But like for the actual mechanics, it's very rare. And so like these are the biggest levers in the business. They're going to be price all the way at the end, because you can make that kind of change. And then the pure volume of creative on the front.
Most people don't have about page conversion problems. It's what we see is they mostly need more traffic or they need a fixed churn.
Yeah.
But if your about page doesn't convert, you do have an about page problem, and that is possible.
For example, we had monthly subscription, which is $9, and then we added premium, and it was only a yearly price for $77, and our conversion to yearly rate was like 20%, and then we add VIP, which was $249 per year, and we thought that we're gonna increase the RPU, but our premium conversion rate dropped to 5% because we added third tier. So my point was like I want to test like different types of about page. So one of them like just normal and premium, and the second one is just for VIP, for example.
Can you cowboy test it?
I think you just did.
Yes, so you know what works better?
No, I mean, if I get 2 tires, the conversion to premium is really high. But if I run 3 tires, so the conversion to premium is not so good.
So which one works better?
The first one, but I already got a lot of VIP people in the group, right?
Maybe do the first one?
So what should I do with the people who already bought the VIP for yearly?
I don't know. Keep him or cancel him, whatever you want.
Also, to his point, first-party data, right? Like you can read like, hey, having a high anchor works in a lot of scenarios. In yours, it didn't. Good to know. Real quick, I'm going to show you the exact 10-stage roadmap from 0 to 100 million plus that less than 1% of companies finish. I've now done multiple times. And so I can say with a lot of confidence that these are the stages as headcount increases that you need to get through. And I broke each of these down by 8 different functions of the business, what the constraint feels like what are the symptoms of it when you're going through it, and then what steps we actually took to graduate. And we've done this across software, physical products, service businesses, brick and mortar, all of this, and it works. And it's my gift to you. It's absolutely free. And so the link's in the description, but you just go acquisition.com/roadmap, just enter your info, and it'll spit it right back to you, all free.